All right, here with Rory Osborne out of California. As far as I know, the rumor is the coolest marshal this side.
Times are hard.
How long have you been at Texas Relays, working Texas Relays?
That's a good question. Maybe 15 years, something like that.
Okay. But the real reason, and you know that I want to do an interview with you today, is because you've got the musical background that I love. You didn't play the instrument, but...
Actually, I did play.
What'd you play?
Guitar.
In a band?
In a band.
In the Haight-Ashbury area?
In, well, San Francisco Bay Area. I'll show you the picture when we're done.
All right. But what's fascinated me over the last several years talking with you here is that you were basically as close as I am to you right now to the legends like the Beatles, Hendrix, Joplin, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
talk to me about that. Some of the people that you saw and were basically 2 feet away from before they just hit it internationally.
Well, you have to know, back in the day, you could, Bill Graham created a venue for bands, and there was no venue before that. People played the state fair or something. And other than the Beatles, who, they created this whole situation, which many people came, and they were way ahead of everybody else. But Bill Graham created this venue, the Fillmore, and so I was young at the time, and in my late teens stuff, and we used to go we just hung out there. We'd go on weekends, and it cost you $3 on Thursday and Sunday, and $3.50 on Friday and Saturday to go see these people who later became legends, but you didn't know they would be legends. And you could just stand here and talk to them between sets or whatever it may be, and you'd go hear 3 bands from 8 o'clock to 2 in the morning and just hang out. So you got to know a lot of people, and then I played in a band as well, and you got to know other people because of that. So that's kind of how it all started. So, all these people, Jim Morrison and Eric Clapton and Janis. Janis was just a sweetie. And people like that, Jerry Garcia and all that. You just be hanging around, and you weren't always necessarily part of their circle, but they'd be like this close, and you go talk to them, like Janis. I think you and I talked about it before, and just go up and talk to them and hang out. Again, you weren't necessarily part of their friends circle, but it's just like track officials here. You're just kind of hanging out together. It was a long time ago, before all these big concerts, and you got to have all these security passes and doing all that kind of stuff. Anyway, sorry, I'm rambling.
But you were hanging out with them before they became the legends and icons and major influencers that they are now.
Yeah. Janis in particular used to follow another guy and I. They play somewhere every weekend, a couple of places, and we just follow them around, hang out, stuff like that.
So how was Janis?
Janis was she was just a sweetie. She was a sweetheart and the kindest person, and which is part of her downfall. But she, for those of us who, who were still young, we never seen anything like that. And there were some jazz singers, before and all that. But she was so raw, and you just sit there and just punch it out. Never seen anything. But we'd never seen a lot of things. So I was from white middle America, and Bill Graham would bring in these eclectic shows. So you'd see Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters, and Chuck and stuff like that, Richie Havens, all these people that you would never have seen as white middle America. Bill Graham hadn't done what he did, and that's how we learned music.
What was Hendrix like the first time you saw him?
Hendrix was, the thing with Hendrix, where he had this dual combo, is that he was a great guitar player, as I don't have to tell anybody that, but he played unusual guitar. It was different from your 1-4-5 progression, usual stuff. Clapton was great. One of my idols, or Jeff Beck and all. They were playing a lot of stuff coming out of rock and roll stuff. Hendrix was doing it too, but it was different. So he was an innovative and great guitar player, but everybody knows that. The other thing that he had was he had this charisma. Some people have charisma, and some people don't. Like me, I don't. And so he was, how the way he'd carry himself, and the way he would present on stage and all of that. So he had that great dual combination where he had this kind of attitude, which was a good attitude by and large.
Once again, Zamzo in first
but he could play, he could back it up.
Followed by McKenzie.
What was Jerry Garcia like?
Jerry Garcia, there's mixed feelings about, because Jerry was a great guitar player and innovator, but personally, I liked him better when he played with other people. So you go see him play in clubs, Merle Saunders a lot, and things like that. And I enjoyed him more there than I did with the Dead. And I know, I'm insulting a lot of people, but I was never big on the Dead. I always respected them, but I like what Jerry did in other places. The problem with Jerry was he became more and more addled in drugs, and he was just a mess. And you'd see him down Market Street at 2 o'clock in the morning trying to score and stuff, and that's the problem. He went downhill, and people, because he was a fairly bright guy, they would call him Mr. Trips and whatever Jerry said, and if he hadn't been in the Dead, I don't think they'd have gone as far as they did. But the problem was, as he's doing drugs and doing a lot of other stuff, they're still listening to what he has to say, but even his own band wasn't listening to what he had to say anymore. So that's the problem with Jerry. Actually, my favorite band, which most people don't know, in the Bay Area at that time, because that's where I lived, was Quicksilver, Messenger
Love
Service.
Quicksilver.
And John Cipollina was great. Nicky Hopkins would play with him sometimes, but they were great. And
Messenger Service.
Yeah, I loved them. Go see them wherever they play. And the ones the ones that destroyed my hearing were, it was a dual concert with the Blue Cheer and the Who, in a small venue. And Blue Cheer prided themselves on being the loudest band, and I think they probably were. And it was just noise. It was just, God, and of course the Who I don't have to say much about. Love the Who. Love the Who. They still love the Who. What's left of them.
But it's amazing that you were just there at the right place at the right time, because you got to see and basically talk to them and know them before, like we mentioned, became legends. And we've only got a couple minutes here till you got to get to your next event. So I'm going to name a few bands. You tell me if you saw them up close and personal before they became big.
Let me quickly tell you, the guy that I didn't care for, but I loved the music, was Jim Morrison. Loved the Doors. Morrison was I don't know if you want me to say this. Morrison was not a pleasant fellow. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Beatles.
The Beatles. I did not meet the Beatles. Not meet the Beatles.
Airplane.
Oh yeah. Grace Slick, are you kidding? We'd go see the Airplane. I'd sit from here to there to Grace Slick when I'd get there.
With Paul Kantner.
Cantner and Yorma and
Holly
Cassidy.
Dickinson of Louisville.
All those guys. Yeah, Cassidy was a great
Holly
bass player back
Dickinson
then.
of Louisville.
Yorma was out of his element. He wasn't a rock.
javelin.
He wasn't a great rock player, but
Also
he
in
could
the
play
javelin,
picking.
going off
Man,
about
he
4
was a
minutes.
picker. He was
We will
great.
have
He was
one
great.
Mamas and the Papas.
Oh yeah. Oh, Michelle, are you kidding? Oh yeah.
Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And one of the greatest guitar moments that I remember was his duel between Steve Stills and Neil, and I don't remember the song. And they went on for 20 minutes. I still remember that. It was just dumbfounding. It was great.
So when's your book of memoirs coming out about the late 60s?
They don't want to know. Everybody else who's in bigger positions than I am. I was just one of the peons. And they let them write their books. They have more to tell you.
All right. Rory, I appreciate your time. I know you got to get to your next event, either Javelin or
Povo.
Keep on rocking, sir.
Yeah, keep on rocking.